Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum and Eid Mubarak. Today we are going to talk about calligraphy, specifically Arabic calligraphy, which is an art form and a form of communication that has existed for centuries. It can convey both poetic or Quranic verse or saying, as well as someone's name or title. It includes a wide variety of styles and images and can be abstract or can sometimes have objects, animals, or other shapes. Today we have Iraqi master calligrapher and architect Taha Al-Hiti, who is joining us, and he'll tell us about calligraphy and how he got into it. Salam alaikum, Taha.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And Eid Mubarak.
Thank you. Same to you. Eid Mubarak to you and all your viewers as well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for joining us. Taha, so how is London? You're in London right now, right?
Yes, I am. It's wonderful, actually. It's nice and it's getting slightly warmer now that the spring is approaching. So it's wonderful here. Yes.
Thank you so much. So Taha, we'll start with some questions that I have. And some of these questions have been submitted by the children about their curiosity about calligraphy. So the first and foremost question is just, what is calligraphy and what is Arabic calligraphy?
Calligraphy in the dictionary of Oxford actually is defined as the art of beautiful writing. That's calligraphy, be it Arabic or Latin or Chinese. Arabic calligraphy is the art of embellishing the Quranic words, the Quranic ayahs, if you like. So it was purely born as a recommendation and as an advice from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to write the Quran, to document the Quran in a very good and nice, elegant way, which turned out to be calligraphy. And it went through a very long period of transformations until it became the Arabic calligraphy that we know it and do it right now today.
Sounds great. And then, Taha, when did you get into calligraphy?
Actually, I was always drawn, as far as I could remember, to calligraphy, perhaps because I was born in a place, I was born in Baghdad in Iraq, and it was full of calligraphy everywhere, so you cannot escape it, and it was very enchanting to the eye. It was magical to see. So as far as I could remember, my memory I was always drawn into Arabic calligraphy. But what I do remember actually is that I first learned to draw my name before knowing how to read it. So I didn't know how to read, but I knew how to draw my name, like everyone who likes their name, I suppose. So that I remember that I used to like letters and I used to look at them and enjoy whether looking at them or writing them.
And then, if you can tell us, what are the aspects of calligraphy that differentiate it from other art forms?
Yes, that's a very interesting question because calligraphy is a very unique art in the sense that the tools you have in calligraphy are very limited.
Mm-hmm.
In music, you have a full harmonic orchestra, they call it, which consists of many musicians. In painting, you have many colors and many techniques and many brushes. Um, you have shade and shadow in painting. In calligraphy, you only have a reed pen and a black ink and a white paper.
Yep.
You do not have colors and shades, and if you make a little mistake in one little letter, that's the whole thing ruined.
Mm-hmm.
In painting and drawing, because I draw as well as an architect, if you make a mistake in painting, you could brush over it in shadow and shade and make it look good. In calligraphy, it is a bit harder to do that, which requires a higher skill because that ink on paper is what we call black on white. It's very high contrast and it will show any little mistake. So that is what calligraphy is uh, very unique in. Other than this, it has all the elements that all arts have, like rhythm, um, balance, composition, harmony, contrast, all these elements that are available in all forms of artwork are also part of calligraphy as well.
So, one other question which I thought was very interesting that was submitted was, what does the artist think of first, what they are writing or the form or the shape they are making? And, it's, I mean, I didn't even think of this question, but I was like, wow, that's such an interesting way of thinking about it. So, what is your thought process in
That
that?
is a that is a very smart, deep question actually, because um, I grew up at a certain phase of my life, led by the message of the content, the lyrics of a calligraphy.
Yeah.
So that is what leads. If you want to write Bismillah ar-Rahman rahim, then this is the text you have, and this is how you look at composing it and making it look good. Um, but then at another phase of my life, I changed to just enjoy letters and just write letters like this horse behind me here.
Yep.
It doesn't have any words, it doesn't have any contents, it is just letters, Arabic letters. Regardless of what they say, they don't say anything necessarily. Letters on their own are absolutely beautiful as well. Um, so now I actually swing in between a message. Sometimes I hear a line of poetry or a saying or even a song, and it draws me so much because of the meaning of it. Then I start constructing it in an art form, and sometimes it is just a piece of paper that draws me to write letters on it, and they end up to be just letters on paper that look good or nice.
Sounds good. And then, since you are an architect by profession, what linkage does calligraphy have, specifically to Islamic architecture?
Um, well, calligraphy is a form of art, and so is architecture. Architecture is another form of art. So is poetry, so is music, and many other forms of art that we know. Um, so calligraphy meets with architecture in all these principles that I've mentioned, most importantly of which, in my opinion, uh, is rhythm and balance. Rhythm and balance are very important. The columns and the slabs in a building are the rhythm of that building that repeat itself in a certain way. The alifs in a calligraphy, or the vertical letters, if you like, are a rhythm, whereas the horizontal letters are another rhythm. Um, in architecture, it's the same thing. They share all the same basis of artistic composition. Um, but the most interesting thing about calligraphy that I found is when we study, when we say now Islamic architecture, we think of a mosque or we think of a school, an Islamic school, but mostly we think of a mosque.
Yep.
Um, but if we go to Pakistan, for example, and look at a mosque, and then go to Turkey and look at a mosque there, we will find them completely different to each other and to that mosque that we find in Baghdad or in Spain, in Alhambra. So all these rich architectural styles are called Islamic architecture, but they are very different. They are very versatile. And I always ask myself the question, what is in common between all these different schools of different styles of architecture? And I found, funny enough, that the answer is just under my nose. It's calligraphy, it is letters. When you find these letters on a building, that is an Islamic building. That's it, end of story, because no one else uses letters in the way Muslims use the in architecture, especially starting with the Quranic verses on the mosques and on the Kaaba. Al-Kaaba al-Musharrafa is full of
Yeah.
calligraphic letters. So that was very interesting to find out after all these years that the thing that I searched for most was just under my nose and I couldn't pick it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One other question that was submitted was, can calligraphy be done with all different languages, or is it more, is Arabic more appropriate for calligraphy and making it into forms and, drawing around it?
I would like to, my instinctive answer is that I would like to say calligraphy is Arabic calligraphy because that's how I know it. But when I grew up, I found out that calligraphy is the art of beautiful writing, whether it's in Chinese or Japanese or Latin. I mean, you've got in other cultures and other religions, you've got the Christians have the Book of Celts, and it's there in Ireland in I think the Chester Beatty library, and it's an absolutely beautiful book, just like the Qurans that we have, but it's not written in Arabic. It's written in Latin, in the English letters, that Latin letters that we use. Um, Japanese calligraphy on rice paper is absolutely inspiring and stunning.
Yeah.
So um, calligraphy is a very wide art and it's used in all languages and everyone enjoys calligraphy in their own way and in their own language and in their own composition because it's like singing. Arabs used to have a very interesting saying that says if singing is music to the ears, then calligraphy, to the ears, yes, then calligraphy is music to the eyes, because one you perceive with your ears, singing, and the other one you perceive with your eyes, because it's a written message that you enjoy with your eyes.
Yep.
So it's a form of art like any other form of art, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's very beautiful saying. And then last but not least, since we are celebrating Eid, I definitely wanted to ask you a question about Eid. How did you celebrate Eid when you were growing up in Iraq? And what are your most fond memories of your Eid celebration as a child?
Actually, the Eid was a very, very nice, happy social occasion that we had celebrated twice a year, the Ramadan Eid and the Eid al-Fitr and the Eid al-Adha. But the best part about Eid is that it gathers you with family and you get to see all those families from both sides of your parents and I remember the best part that we used to enjoy is that the elderly in Iraq, that was a culture where the elderly give the younger ones, mostly the children, uh, us being at the receiving end, they give them money and they call it idea,
Yes.
which we would then take and go to the public square, I say that, or the public park, whether we were in Baghdad or in Heat, where my dad's family came from, or any part, there's this public gathering where they bring swings and a wheel and even animals like horses, and that used to be a wonderful thing to go to because it's not only a gathering with your family and cousins and friends, but a gathering with the wider world for kids to see and to get to interact with others on a happy note rather than any other note. It's just a happy celebration. And that must have inspired me a lot on very happy days in my childhood.
That's great. Thank you so much, Taha. Eid Mubarak. And for those of you who are more interested in learning about Taha's calligraphy, we will send you links after this. And we will stay in touch. And Taha, shukriya.
Thank you very much, and Eid Mubarak to you and to everyone, to all your viewers. May God bless and take care of yourselves.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Calligraphy letters are based on a very organic way of building, and it's all related to nature and the human body and the golden section. If I describe myself, then I would be an architect with a passion for calligraphy and Islamic arts. However, the art bit came before the architecture, obviously. I was drawn to letters since I was a very young child, and I used to draw my name before I used to be able to read it. I used to just replicate the shapes that I see in probably enchantment of these beautiful letters. And then it grew up with me. Calligraphy was always present with me. Calligraphy has a lot of strict rules, very strict, in the sense of the proportion of each letter has its own measurements in accordance with the dot. The Arabic letters themselves are shaped in families. If you see the Jim, Ha, Kha are all the same family. Sin, Shin is the same family. Sad, Dad is a different family. Ta, Da, Ain, Ghain. All these are families of letters which are shaped or developed in a way related to the golden section, which is related to the human body mainly. You say the chin of the letter, or the neck of the letter, or the body of the letter, or the chest of the letter. For example, the letter Alif in calligraphy specifically, it's simply a straight vertical line. But in Arabic calligraphy, it is a straight line leaning slightly forward, with a chest that's protruded forward and a lower part which is going backwards. Almost all the letters have some certain relation to the human body or parts of it. For example, the letter Ain would have what they call an eyebrow. It's a hajib, they call it in Arabic. And even to animals sometimes. So the letter Ha, there is one of the Ha shapes that is called the ear of the horse, which looks exactly like an ear of the horse. I aspire to find a modern form of doing calligraphy or compositions. I started forming vertical letters for minarets rather than writing in calligraphy in a horizontal way. And I did many successful trials, and some of them went on a 90-meter high minaret. It's the versatility in breaking the rules and how good you are in breaking those rules and coming up with something new, not necessarily replicating traditional forms of the circle or the oval.